Welcome to Consumer Law Studio, presented by South Carolina Legal Services. Bringing you interviews of voices and faces from the consumer law scene in South Carolina and around the nation. Today, Susan Ingles interviews Pamela Simmons-Beasley, President of the South Carolina Bankruptcy Law Association.
I'm here with Pamela Simmons-Beasley, who has been a bankruptcy attorney in Columbia, South Carolina since 1995. Welcome, Pam.
Well, thank you, Susie. Thank you.
And Pam has just finished a year as president of the South Carolina Bankruptcy Law Association. So we'll talk a little bit about that association in a moment. Mm-hmm. But first, Pam, tell me about your law practice as a bankruptcy attorney.
Okay. Well, I started my practice in January of 1995, and it was really against the advice of a lot of my peers. They all said that, well, you have to do something else besides bankruptcy. You'll never make that work by itself. But I had met with a judge in Sumter County, a family court judge, and he told me that he would give me a little bit of advice that most people don't follow, which is if you're just starting out and you really want to make a good reputation for yourself, to focus on one or two areas. Don't go into a general practice. You will build your reputation and people will begin to know that you are the expert in that particular area. He said it will be a slow way of growing your practice because the money will not come right away. But if you do it that way, you will surely build a good reputation.
That is great advice, and I think it's definitely worked out well for you.
It certainly has. I have been focusing on data consumer work, and I just enjoy making a difference in people's lives. The first person that I helped to save their home just turned my life around in terms of thinking that I could make a difference. And so I've loved it for about 20 years or more.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the South Carolina Bankruptcy Law Association.
Mm-hmm.
You have just finished your term as president of the association. Tell me, or tell our listeners, what SCBLA is and kind of how it got started.
Okay. It's been around for approximately 25 years, and it's an association of debtor attorneys, creditor attorneys, trustees, judges, their staff, and we all gather at least on a monthly basis. And we try to educate ourselves in terms of the bankruptcy laws, in terms of new cases that are coming about, to keep ourselves educated on what's pressing in the bankruptcy arena. It's also an opportunity for us to fellowship and get to know each other better.
Mm-hmm. And is that a good fellowship amongst the collaboration of both sides and different kinds of bankruptcy, whether it be individual or business?
It's a wonderful fellowship. I mean, it's kind of hard to be too tough on someone that you see on a regular basis. And so it makes for a more civil environment in terms of working with one another. And so I have loved the practice of bankruptcy.
So tell me about the annual seminar. The association has an annual seminar, and could you just describe that for our listeners, what goes on there?
Yeah, the annual seminar is an opportunity for us to get most of our continuing legal education coursework in. And we hold it in different areas of South Carolina and Georgia. This last seminar was in Savannah, Georgia. Prior to that, we were in Grove Park in Asheville, North Carolina. So we travel around to different areas, and we have we take the entire weekend, Friday through Sunday, where we have various seminars on various topics. The nice thing about it, and I have people always comment on this, is that we only hold the seminars from about 8 o'clock a.m. to 12 noon. And we always give folks the rest of the afternoon to go out and enjoy the city. Most folks will bring their families. But it's just an awesome opportunity for us to get in all of our CLEs, and we enjoy it.
And that's great for people to be able to bring their families and enjoy where they are, because so many seminars don't do that. You're, wall-to-wall sessions, educating yourself, which is great. But sometimes when you're in a really great town, you want to see the sights.
Exactly.
So that's a great way to do a seminar. Now, you have other educational events. Tell us about those.
We have our monthly meetings. And again, that's about an hour CLE each month. And it's an opportunity for us to get our ethics CLEs in. It gets we have various speakers that'll come in, and sometimes, like we've had the Master of Equity to come in and talk about foreclosures because we're so closely related to what's going on in that arena. So, and it also allows the more seasoned attorneys to interact with the new attorneys that are coming on board. And because a lot of bankruptcy law, although everything is written down in terms of procedures, you learn that a lot by just going to court and just going through the motions and just interacting with the trustees.
Right, you learn by
and
doing.
The judges. Exactly. You learn by doing. And fire sometimes.
Sometimes that's the best way.
Exactly.
Just go ahead and jump in.
And then most of the debtor attorneys are sole practitioners. So we don't have anyone to kind of bounce things off of. So these opportunities to get together and talk among ourselves really pay off. So we really look forward to those times.
And so as far as the practice of bankruptcy law and keeping yourself educated, does the law change a lot? I mean, are you seeing new things coming out in cases that are decided and that sort of thing?
Definitely. In fact, there was a new case decided by the Supreme Court very recently where they were considering whether you can value a claim in a Chapter 7. And it would have been very beneficial to our debtors, but that ended up deciding against us. So right now we can value claims in Chapter 13s, but not in Chapter 7s. So, those seminars give us an opportunity to really go through cases like that and kind of pick them apart and make sure that we understand exactly what's going on. Right. Because as you know, the law is fluid. And as long as there's cases out there, then things are changing, know, and we need to keep up on what's going on.
What do you see on the horizon as the biggest thing that will be taking up a lot of time in the bankruptcy court? Anything in particular?
Well, right now, we're trying to assist people with their loan modifications to the extent possible. But there is a possibility that we'll become what's called a conduit state one day. Right now, some areas actually pay the mortgage payments entirely, not just the arrearage, but they pay the mortgage payments for the debtors while they're in the bankruptcy. We don't do that in South Carolina. In Florida, I know they do it that way. We know that kind of works out better for the debtors because we can keep track. The trustees can keep track of what's been paid, and we will get away from all these 362 motions for relief of stay and so forth. So that might be coming to us one day.
Okay. So conduit being that not only would a debtor be paying a payment to a Chapter 13 trustee towards all their past due debt, but also that would include their regular house payment.
Their regular mortgage payment, their regular house payment.
Right.
So that would be a big adjustment for us if that were to happen.
But maybe a beneficial thing for debtors because they would just have the one payment, and like you said, they might not get in trouble getting behind on that regular house payment.
Yeah, I think it'll be better for them in the future, but we'll see.
We'll see. Well, now, during your tenure as president of South Carolina Bankruptcy Law Association, I know that the association started a public service project that you're participating in. Tell me about that.
We are now partnering. We being Bank Law, we're now partnering with South Carolina Legal Services and the South Carolina Bankruptcy Court in the delivering the CARE program, which stands for Credit Abuse Resistance Education. And what we do is we go out to high schools and to colleges, and we present financial literacy training to those students, so that hopefully we won't see them as clients one day, so that they will be better managers of their debt. They can deal with their student loans in a more responsible manner. But we just feel that that's our way of giving back to the community who's given so much to us. So it's been a fantastic program. In addition to doing care in the high schools and the colleges, I also presented to the residents in family shelter, which is emergency housing for children and their families here in Columbia.
Well, that's great. I assume that when you have seen clients over the years, you've thought, gee, if only they had known, if only they had been fully educated about what they were getting ready to get themselves into, maybe they wouldn't be here in my office. So,
Exactly.
So that kind of educational program is great.
Exactly. And I have had 3 generations in the same family as clients.
Wow.
And so you think, there's something isn't right here. You've got to make sure that the word gets to someone that
pass down that knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, so on the website for the South Carolina Bankruptcy Law Association, that's www.scbla.org.
That is it.
And there's a link, I presume, there to this CARE program where people can find the program and maybe set something up at their own, church or community group.
Exactly. And there's also, I believe there's a link on the court's website as well.
Okay.
Probably in South Carolina Legal Services also has a link. Because CARE, the services are free. We can do the seminar as long as an hour or as short as someone wanted to be. And so we can customize it, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
But the
and
information is so beneficial.
For question and answer, and people can ask about a particular issue that they might have.
Fantastic.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you would give our listeners your website so that if there's anyone out there that would like to talk to you about your services, they'll know how to get in touch with you.
Fantastic. Well, my website is www.p Beasleylaw. That's pbeasleylaw.com.
Great. Well, I hope that our listeners will come to you for their consumer and bankruptcy needs, and hopefully there won't be too many of them that need that. But thank you so much for being with us today. Pamela Simmons-Beasley, bankruptcy attorney in Columbia, South Carolina.
Well, thank you, Susan, and thank you, South Carolina Legal Services, for all that you do.